All right, up next, we have number 37, Alexander the Great. The year was Y2K, the year 2000, and it was draft day on April 15th. And the Seahawks select running back Shaun Alexander out of Alabama. And, well, he got to play behind that famous line in the 2000s. Alexander was basically unstoppable. And he had 5 straight seasons with 1,000 yards rushing or more.
Very impressive.
Including a new NFL record for touchdowns in 2005 with 27, and the league MVP. Has anybody before or since won the MVP for the Seahawks? I don't know.
And he broke Emmitt Smith's record too, which is rare air, right? To get up there with, obviously those legendary Cowboy teams and what that offensive line and running game was like.
Yeah, it was wild. It was insane. So are Vikings fans always laughing at us in the end? Because it seems like it. Seems like it. Because in 2006, the Seahawks, well, they had a big decision to make. Do they place a franchise tag on offensive guard Steve Hutchinson, or do they sign running back Shaun Alexander?
I'll tell you what, Steve Hutchinson, being a guy who coached and played offensive line for years, it's the most probably underappreciated position. And clearly as Seahawks fans, we've seen the damage that can be done when we don't have decent players up there or guys that are trying hard but maybe just aren't at the right tier. You don't get many Steve Hutchinsons in your franchise history.
No.
That guy, I still believe he would be a first ballot Hall of Famer had he stayed at the Seahawks and kept that notoriety working with Walter Jones. And just what was an amazing offensive line. Him and
Walter Jones are like 2 of the best blockers of that entire era, possibly ever.
Absolutely.
And Shaun Alexander got to run behind him. So,
well, that's it. You and I as fans, Josh always used to say, it's like nothing against, Emmitt Smith. He was a fantastic talent and did exactly what you should with great blocking. I do believe it was Shannon Sharp, though, once, or maybe it was Sterling Sharp that said on ESPN, that he goes, if you give Barry Sanders that offensive line, he rushes for like 8,000 yards. And clearly he's being exaggeratory, but it's like, you can't underappreciate the offensive line the way that the Seahawks made the mistake of doing so, because clearly evidence shows without Steve, we were not quite the same team.
Well, isn't that why Barry Sanders eventually left? He's like, you know what? I'm just going to retire. Like, you guys aren't helping me out here. I can only run around like a complete lunatic this many years in a row. So, yeah. Okay, so the Seahawks end up, they placed the franchise tag on Shaun Alexander, and I remember right after they announced this, I turned to my buddy Ryan.
Ryan Dunham.
Good old Ryan. And I said, this is it. It's over. This era's over. And it was, because the very next year, Shaun Alexander, he went from 1,880 yards rushing in 2005 to just 896 yards rushing in 2006.
Good Lord.
That's seriously 1,000 yards less rushing than he had the year before. And then each year just got worse and worse. It was the fall of Alexander the Great.
Yeah, he went from Alexander the Great to Jason Alexander, the actor who plays George. So fortunately, we didn't get the Summer of George, though, Seinfeld style from this guy. How many times have we seen this in the NFL where a running back gets paid and they just aren't the same? And part of it's just, the nature of the position and the physicality and the punishment you take. But my Lord, man.
It is kind of that, what do they usually say about running backs too? They have like a 5-year window. I don't know.
Those rare exceptions.
Hey, and look,
yeah, you're right.
In that 5 years, he was one of the top 3 running backs in the entire league. So there you go.
Well,
is Shaun Alexander a Hall of Famer?
I don't think so. To me, there's the Hall of Fame, and then there's the Hall of, the theoretical Hall of Good. And he was a really good player, but I just don't know that just that 5-year period, and some might argue against me.
Yeah.
Just don't know that 5 years is enough longevity in the league to be considered Hall of Fame, but that's just my opinion.
All right, so there you have it. Alexander the Great, or as Ethan says, Alexander the Very Good.
Pretty good.